Welcome to Biggest Geekus. You're Dude, I'm off. Oh, well. We're your host. I'm Randy, the slow one.
And I'm Joe.
The Biggest Geekus. Oh, hold on for a second. Hold on. I'm off. Oh, okay, shut up. Randy's. Someone just, Shadzar just complimented me, and now I jacked this up.
Yes, you did.
No, I got to. Yeah. It says next thing you know, he'll be running the stream in about 80 more episodes. Yeah, I might be able to. Maybe. I doubt it. Anyway, this is episode 77, folks. We're all ready, as you can see, of our podcast. The date is Tuesday, March 1st, 2022.
Yes, we start out and it's a shambles, but that's okay.
So smooth. I'm on the other page because I'm trying to be able to comment to these guys. Hey, guys, everybody's here. And I was like, I'm like reading comments, messing around with it. Joe's like, hello.
Hello. Bueller.
Golly. Oh, man. So how was this week, man?
It was all right.
Yeah.
It was all right. I had the last few days off, so I got some rest, kind of. I've been working on the house a bit.
Yeah.
But it's been work.
Yeah. I'm pretty pumped. I got spring break coming up after this week, though it's not really spring here in Michigan. So I'll be off after the next couple of days. Second test rolling around the bend tomorrow and Thursday. All my kiddies going to get tested up in math, so they're pumped about that starting bright and early tomorrow at 8 a.m., so they can't wait.
I'm sure they can't.
Yes.
It is math, and no one shuns math.
It's like a dream come true. So
welcome everybody who is in the chat.
Mm-hmm.
It seems there's a weird thing here between the viewer count and the people who are in chat. It seems like there's more than 4. So we'll see.
Oh, yeah. Got Green Apple, Larry, Tim, Shadzar, Duncan. Can't even name so many of them. Martinson, Shadow and Son, I think, was here. Yeah, cool. All right. We got any call-ins or emails? We should begin there.
I think we have a call-in.
Oh, okay.
Let's see here. Let's switch over to that.
Joe's gonna work his magic so we can all see and enjoy this lovely call-in.
Yeah.
Is it from across the pond, our boy John?
Yeah. He had just one comment. It was something he found funny. So we will share that as soon as I coordinate myself and do this correctly. All right. So the last time it was he was opining about being the eternal DM. Last time he called, which has been a couple weeks. So here we go. Our lone call-in comment from John Allen Large.
Hey there guys, it's John here from the Red Dice Diaries, just listening to your 3 R's episode, very much enjoying it, and I'm determined that one of these days, when I've got some more holiday, I'll actually make it to one of the live streams, although it's a bit difficult due to the time zone differences, but I will make it at some point. But I don't really have anything profound to say, although I am definitely thinking that I need a t-shirt or a hoodie that says "What's his sloppy seconds" on it. Anyway, I'm going to go back to listening to the rest of the episode, guys. Take care. I'll catch you soon.
I think that was your comment, Joe, wasn't it? It was about taking a
walk. Well, I stole it.
Oh, did you? Okay.
Yes. That is actually a paraphrase.
Yeah.
From Eric July, who talks about sloppy seconds from Marvel and whatnot. So with the in the context of, instead of having a brand new character of color, black character, you take Captain America, turn it into a mantle, which it's not.
Correct.
And then give it to a black fella.
Right.
This black fella being Falcon, who was a perfectly good character. As he was. And without the word black in his hero name, which is
amazing.
Great. So instead of Falcon being able to be Falcon, he's now Captain America, because Falcon's not good enough. You have to take Captain America's sloppy seconds.
Right.
And that's the gist of it. And with regard to, and that's with regard to the OSR, it's just a thought
Right.
that,
Yeah.
yeah, instead of the OSR, instead of doing their own thing, they often just use the OGL, which is fine, I suppose, because it provides a lot of ready-made stuff for you to use. And hello, Indigo, and hello to everyone that's in the chat again.
Yeah.
So that is just me thinking out loud. I don't know how close that those two are similar. Dream come true. Math is a dream come true.
Duncan Bradley, he gets extra brownie points. Math equals a dream come true. Like I tell my students, brownie points are like bonus points, except they don't count, but they look good on a resume.
Hello, Legion.
And
I'm not sure it matters whether they were in the comic book like that or not. The point isn't that he got it live action. The point was that they did it, period.
Yeah.
So,
and I mean, I get what Martinson's saying there. I mean, that has happened. I mean, even for Batman, when Batman went down, had his back broken by Bane, Azrael took over as the Bat, but he was completely different. He was really a different character. He was just performing the duties of the Dark Knight in Gotham. But I don't know. I don't like the mantle thing. I mean, I see no one but Steve Rogers as Captain America, no matter what they say.
It's not a mantle.
Yeah.
And Shadzar, I disagree. Oh, okay.
Oh, well, hold on.
But
John
he has the thing here.
Isn't sloppy seconds just because he's black. Yeah, and I don't think he would say that. John Stewart has never been, I better not say that. He is a Green Lantern. Has he been the Green Lantern of Earth?
He's a Green Lantern. With Green Lantern, that is a mantle that passes along.
Yeah, and there's one in each sector across the universe. So,
right, and each Green Lantern of Earth has been somewhat different, and it's been that way for a while. So there are some of these things that are mantles that who cares who gets it as long as it's a good story afterwards when they change it. Right. I'm not sure why they did. If they changed it just because they wanted somebody new there and wanted a different character direction, whatever. Yeah. But when you're handing off something like Captain America to a black and giving it to making them black, and that's really the only thing. And that's what the point is.
And the worst thing about Falcon, he was already his own dude.
Yeah,
perfectly fine. He was a fairly old character, been around a long time. Why? I agree with Eric July. Why are you doing that? So,
he might have, but not to the same degree as these other things.
And so, I'm with you, Shadzar. I wouldn't agree that John Stewart is sloppy seconds. He's a different Green Lantern. There's a ridiculous amount of lanterns, green and all other
green.
colors.
Yeah,
not just yellow and green anymore. It's pink and purple and green and gray and yellow and black. So anyway,
yes, we are basically in agreement. Black Lex Luthor, sloppy seconds. Black Green Lantern, just a new generation.
Fair enough. Yeah. Oh, so
Eric July, Green Apple, Eric July. He's been saying it here recently quite a bit in his daily show. Yeah. So
he gets frustrated when they do that to a Pete, and I think, oh, look, we got a cool new black character. He goes, no, you're not. You're just Miles Morales. You're just trying to be Spider-Man, and you're slightly a person of color. So, yay, rah. That's not interesting.
Right. And if you're consuming Eric July off of the YouTubes with the clips here and there, you may miss it. But if you listen to him podcast wise, then what am I saying? If you listen to his podcast, you can be more up to date on what he said.
All right. So our buddy Silent Josh sent us a few links I thought were kind of interesting. I find this kind of dumb. The first one, I'm sure Joe will put it in the show notes. They're releasing another Tiamat. Tiamat.
Yes, they are.
Who's not as big as the one that I have.
Right. And I'm not putting any of these links in the show notes. They can find them themselves.
Oh, Joe, you are so
I'm doing this is me protesting.
Oh.
I'm on strike. No links. No, just joking. Anyway, yes. Please repeat.
So anyway, the first link is they're doing a new Tiamat. She's only going to be priced at $129. She is an avatar, so an aspect, if you will, of the Tiamat dragon god, and
Smaller.
smaller, but still 130 bones. She's probably like 6 inches tall, so she's going to be a very big, huge. The new scale of 5e throws the minis off. The 5e minis are a different scale than the third edition minis, which is annoying.
6 inches tall.
Yep.
Is a fairly large mini.
Yep.
Not sure if it's worth $130 though. What do you think? You're
Um,
more of a minis guy than I am.
If I didn't have 6 inches, that's not a bad. Yeah, it depends if she looks nice. The paint job on my very large Tiamat that I bought could have been better. Oh yeah, this is true too. Shads are Silent Josh said this too. They dropped another ancient red dragon. Yeah, they
Another
did
$600 behemoth or whatever it was.
$400 one, and I'm like, I have the original one they did in 3E. And I was like, I don't need that, and I'm not even tempted, even slightly.
You know what? I think I would rather use this than spend $400 on a figure, because if anybody's wondering, this is the flesh-eating bacteria plushie my wife got me after she saw how much I ate. But anyway, much better investment.
Yeah, there's no way. Patrick Demo says not even worth 100. Patrick, are you talking about the new Tiamat or that red? I've seen the red. I thought it looked okay, but I mean, I'm not interested. I've got a massive red. I don't need it. He's actually probably bigger than the Tiamat figure. I was in terms of height, he is, but she's also more spread out. So, but yeah, I mean, if you need one, cool. The price seems ridiculous. $400. I mean, I get there's inflation and stuff, and it was during the 3.0 era or 3.5, so maybe it's been a long time. So I don't know. Oh, Patrick says both not worth $100. Okay, fair enough.
Well, the really big one that you got recently,
Yeah, Tiamat.
I could see spending upwards of $100. It's a really big figure. It's a lot of material. I get it. I may not still spend it, but I get it. But the 6-inch tall one, nah.
Well,
okay. I'm going to do this. I want to interrupt right quick.
Yep.
To Green Apple. Yeah, his live streams are hard to catch for me too. For Eric July's live streams are hard for me to catch too because I'm working. But he publishes the audio in podcast form that you can check out on any podcatcher if you listen to podcasts. It's for Canon's sake. So it's a good way to stay up to date if you're interested. Just a heads up.
Patrick makes a good point. I have an unpainted dragon as big as my colossal red for $60. Fair enough. Well, but when I bought my colossal red, does anyone on the stream know when the colossal red came out back during 3.5? I don't think it was $100. It might have been, but I don't think so. I know it wasn't much more if it was. And it's also super heavy. It's really thick. But yeah, and if you're a painter, I mean, Patrick's a painter. I know the dude. Yeah, he's better off buying unpainted because he'll do a sweet job of his own. I'm not painting, so
right.
So I'll pay 5 times more for that. Yeah, I would. If I really want it, I don't want to paint. Not interested.
Right.
And don't have the skills, so don't want to develop on it, even if I could, which I don't think I could. But yeah, but I understand it. Yeah, that's a much better deal. It's a much better deal if I would just chain Patrick to a chair and I buy unpainted minis and say, fix them, punk, now. But he won't do that. He won't let me.
What can you do?
Yeah.
I like Darth Theic's solution. Me and my friends always joked about using a frozen turkey for a dragon mini.
That's what I'm talking about. Colossal.
Then you can have a fabulous dinner afterwards.
No doubt. No doubt.
All righty.
Okay. Well, Marvel fans showed their quality, not unlike Faramir. So they got all pissy with Evangeline Lilly because she was supporting the Canadian truckers. That's another link.
Honk honk.
Yeah. Shadzar said $250 for the Colossal Red. I don't know.
It's been a long time. It's been a long time.
So maybe I did pay that. So anyway, this thing with Evangeline Lilly, dude, people are so it's like you can't have an opinion, and if you do, oh, cancel. It's not what
Yeah.
I agree with.
Yeah, agree with her or not,
Right.
as long as a star stays in line with um, stays in line with uh, the current dogma,
Mm-hmm.
then she's fine. But if or he or she is fine, step one little tiny teensy bit out of line, poof, got to cancel her.
Screw
Can't
that.
cannot have those opinions. Cannot be employed. Can't feed their family. Yeah, screw them.
Yeah. So yeah, whatever. And she really didn't say that much. She just said, "You're not treating them fairly. You're not listening to them," and I think that's wrong. When
Right.
what she should have said is, the U.S. needs to forget about the Ukraine, get an army together, go liberate Canada, and put Justin Trudeau to where
In
he's
jail.
in jail at a bare minimum, if not treasonous. I don't know the Canadian law, but that's what they should be doing. But whatever, you guys be cowards if you want to, and just kiss his little dumb butt. So, but
It's not like he's enforcing any rules. He's sending his goons out to do that.
sure he is.
I mean, he couldn't enforce anything through a wet paper sack. So
Yeah, Martinson just posted something. This is Joe is not much for horror movies. He said cancel culture should die like the kids did in Texas Chainsaw Massacre on Netflix. There's a new Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie, and it goes like it's supposed to follow after the first one in some sense. It was a horrible movie. I watched it with Josh, but I like horror movies, and I'll sit through horrible ones. But most of the kids that got killed were super woke, so it kind of was like, oh, that's not all that bad.
well,
Man,
there was a movie about I don't know what it was called, but essentially a bunch of people getting killed, and all of them were conservative types, Republican types,
yeah.
and they were getting killed because of that.
Yes, I saw that movie, and it was actually not bad. The movie was fairly decent. So, anyway, so next is more of like I got some links to a couple of Kickstarters. I'm not sure if they're both rolling. I know the Deadlands Kickstarter, Hell on the High Plains, is about over.
Yeah, it was when I checked it. It was 7 hours to be done, so
And
that was quite a while ago.
And I Kickstarted that pretty big. I think I'm going to keep that at the 150 level. The one that I went big on, Old School Essentials, I decided I thought it'd be great to have them. I know that Exalted Funeral is super woke. I don't know about Gavin Norman. I know his books. I know OSE does not read woke. I mean, I've read through it. It does have nothing political.
Right. It's got the pronoun issues, but that might just be.
I didn't see that when I was reading it. It might
Okay.
It might be in there. I didn't see it, but I kickstarted. I went full of $200 to get it all, and said, "No, I'm not doing that." And I backed down to 60 just to get Old School Essentials advanced. So, yeah, I'm pretty pumped about that. Martinson said Deadlands ended at 7 p.m. So I think it's over. But you can always get in the backer kit. You can still get those that way. I've done that before. I love the Savage World stuff until they give me a reason not to. I'm not going to go. I was telling Josh the other day that I'm not doing any more Savage Worlds new editions. This is it. I'm done. So when they revamp in a few years, I'm like, I got all I need. I got more than I need. I'm not doing it.
Right.
So,
right.
Yeah. So, but anyway, I was just kind of I called it confession because I know Exalted Funeral. I didn't want to support them, but I really wanted OSC Advance, and for $60, it's about right. So
yeah, it'd have to be so compelling a thing for me to back on Kickstarter, and I'd actually have to have disposable cash, which
I'd rather
not at the moment.
Yeah, I'd rather do that than try to find a decent intact copy of BX D&D and not pay through the nose for it.
Sure.
And that kind of works. So that anyway, yeah. Martinson, he's got me. Look what he says. You say that now, Randy. Yeah, who knows? 5 years from now, there's a new Savage World edition. Well, the beauty is
it's shiny, it's new.
The beauty is, though, the current Savage Worlds Adventure Edition, Savage Worlds Deluxe, and the Explorers Edition, those are the last three. You could bring an Explorers Edition book to the table, and you wouldn't have a lot of work. There'd be little niggling details, but a lot of stuff is the same.
Right.
You could manage it.
Sure.
Yeah. So, anything exciting as far as the webs?
There's some noise. Not sure how big any of it is because Twitter, being Twitter, costs. Twitter just isn't a real place. So whatever happens on Twitter, you got to take it with a grain of salt. Is it a big deal? Is it not a big deal? It can give some ideas for topics because they might be interesting topics, but how big of a movement or how big of an issue those things generally are, who knows? There was our main topic is verisimilitude, but there was some talk about it. There always is talk about it from a point of view. Story games versus real games, or we're just playing a game. We don't need story time. Verisimilitude versus story time. All this stuff comes up in various forms in discussions on Twitter and Facebook and wherever else there are discussions. So,
okay. Oh, Max just called me out. He said the them nonsense of OSC is right there on the Kickstarter page. I will check it out. But when I looked at the Old School Essentials book that I have, I did not see anything in it. So maybe he's added it. I hope not. I know Exalted Funerals weak sauce in that area. I'll check it out. I got time. I could cancel my whole.
But it may be. I know that Legion of Myth Max over there knows about if it's a Britishism rather than it being activism. It could be that, but who knows? You can't tell from the word. It looks the same either way.
I'll check it out. If Max says it's true, it probably is. So I'll check it out. Oh, something else. Now this would be interesting to hear from the guys that are on here. I saw that Venger Satanis posted a video today that Misty Mountain Games in Wisconsin. Oh, sorry.
Need a link for that.
Oh, I have to find that link. Yeah.
Yeah.
I could do that as I speak if I was skilled enough.
So while he's looking, I will give some bare bones details. He was kicked out of Venger was kicked out of a game store, local game store, due to the naughtiness of the alleged naughtiness of his gaming materials. So, which is interesting considering the plethora of naughtiness that you could point to any number of gaming books, depending on how prudish you want to be, whether it's just showing a little cleavage all the way to half frontal nudity that's always been in the D&D books to one degree or another.
Yeah. Apparently he was going to run a game at this place, and they said no because they're a family-friendly place. And I thought I just posted the link. Maybe it didn't come through. Did it not come through? Oh, well. I thought I just posted the link in the chat.
I wouldn't call any gaming book that I've looked at, with very, very few exceptions, to be worthy of an adult label. It's just some, I mean, it's like saying that all of the nude paintings or half nude paintings from back in the day should be walled off in an adult section. I don't think so. It's kind of weird. I mean,
yeah. Well, Adam said, it's interesting. Adam Simpson here, which welcome. I live in a woke city. Getting kicked out of the game store could happen to me. Yeah, but yeah, that's ridiculous. That's literally ridiculous. I mean, do they carry Vampire? Or do they have the obscure games like Shadow the Demon Lord? I mean, I don't know how you can get Shadows can only post in private chat in StreamYard. Oh, I tried to post on Facebook. Can I put the link in the private chat then, Joe? If I put the link in the private chat?
Okay, you can put it into the private chat and then I will post it.
Okay, sounds good. I just did that, guys. So, got it, dude. Okay, thanks, Shadzar. But I don't know. And I posted a comment on the YouTube video by Venger, and I said, your stuff doesn't seem family friendly to me in the sense that it seems pretty sexualized, but it's not like way out of bounds for gaming stuff. And why would a game store be all worked up about it unless, hey, we're having a family-friendly day, 5 to 12-year-olds are going to be in the store. Yeah, maybe you don't want to run Chealt, some sexy module thing, but it doesn't sound like that's the reason they booted him. Oh, this is a good point. Hell, with the way everyone plays Bard, should get them kicked out of the game store if that's a good reason. Truth, 100% truth. Get out of here. I just think.
And we don't know this game store. We don't know anybody that runs it.
Nope.
They could be very conservative people, but if they were, I would hazard a guess that they would be more in support of Venger, and they wouldn't kick him out.
Yeah, if it was me and I didn't want to see that kind of stuff in my store, which I'll be honest with you, I wouldn't. I might talk to Venger if I knew him. If look, dude, I don't want you talking. I don't think you get all sexy talk time.
I mean, if they're real like Bible Belt folks, I think they would get more offended at his pseudonym than anything else.
Yeah, I
think Satanus. I mean,
yeah, I think Wisconsin's pretty. The People's Republic, dude. I mean, that's
yeah. Most likely,
I have a good friend just left from there. He lived there for several months, and he said,
most likely they got wind of Lanassa's and his kerfuffle and decided to join the bandwagon in hate. Most likely, I would bet if I had spare cash to bet money on, that's what I would do.
Okay, so I don't understand.
I'll bet Randy's money on it. I'll bet $100 of Randy's money.
That what exactly, Joe?
That these guys are just woke trash.
Yeah, probably.
Essentially.
Yeah. Well, I got another note. I need to get to the main topic, but Venger sent me an email. People that are going to VengerCon, I want to run a game, and I really want to run something old school, but I'm leaning heavier toward. I'm leaning a lot heavier toward running Deadlands just because I like the feel of it, but I think they really want old school stuff, so I may end up running an old basic set game or old school essentials basic. I might do that, so we'll see.
I'm sure they'll appreciate it either way.
Yeah. All right. Shall we scoot on into the main topic?
Scoot.
All right, we are scooting. Keeping it real tonight, folks.
Real.
While playing
keeping it real.
While playing pretend.
Oh, that's metal. That's keeping it metal.
Metal.
Right? That's metal.
Metal. So,
whatever.
So verisimilitude. I looked up a little definition. It says the quality of seeming true or having the appearance of being real. So, balancing this out with sort of the gaming aspect. It's just a game approach. I've got a couple of articles there. I don't know if you spent time reading them or not.
Yes, I did.
And what are your first thoughts just when you're thinking about, hey, people will say, well, that's not realistic that a society would be this way. Or, wouldn't they have a magic item economy because characters are spending all this money, buying all this gold and buying all these magic items? And those sort of questions rather than, don't worry about it. It's a game, dude. You got a +5 sword. Let's roll.
I spent a lot of hours in mental sweat thinking about how magic items, the proliferation of magic items over time would affect an economy, or raiding treasure hoards and whatnot, how that would affect a local or even just the world, how that would look. And after all of that, I've come to the conclusion of who cares? So less is more. You hit some highlights, and instead of trying to figure out what would happen as a DM, you just decide. You say, this happens. And if someone says, well, that doesn't make sense, say, well, maybe not on your world, but this is what's happening. So that's probably as deep as you need to go. Just do a thing. You don't need to spend a whole lot of time. You might want to think a little bit about it and make sure it's not completely off the wall. Like, all right, every once in a while, there's a big haul from a dragon's horde when you kill them. So what would happen?
That's a
volcanic eruptions. Well, if you decide something like that, you probably are, shouldn't be a DM. But as long as you do something fairly reasonable, and verisimilitude for me in this kind of context is more like some internal consistency, and some and some internal consistency and a little bit of logic, but in all cases, less is more.
I think maybe Shadzar's got a point here. 999,999,999 times I have said this. Verisimilitude in games goes hand in hand with suspension of disbelief. Neither works without the other. Yeah, probably.
Yeah, because in-game logic doesn't necessarily work the same as real-world logic. So you have to suspend your disbelief a little bit, and it's not like you're telling yourself, well, it's every time. Well, it's a game, so I have to relax a little bit about this stuff. You just roll with it.
I wonder if GMs like me who worry about this more than others is just our perfectionist attitude, that I want my world to have an internal consistency. And I can recall, I wish I had my Dragon magazines. I would have found it. There was an article. I disbelieve that. There's an article in Dragon, one of the mid years in the late 80s. A guy talked about having castles in a magical society like D&D worlds make any sense at all. And he made a good argument that castles were a colossal waste of time. All the different ways someone could get around, through, under, over, and that and it wouldn't be worth it unless you had a powerful wizard using magic to somehow reinforce the walls and a variety of different things. And he said, not to mention if you have an army coming at you that's made up of dragons and giants, those castle walls aren't going to mean a whole lot.
Right. Flying. Okay, so castles are great when you don't have flying creatures or burrowing creatures or really, really, really big creatures who are like moving siege engines.
Right.
Moving independent siege engines.
Castle, right? Like last week, castle meet Terrask, forget about it.
Right.
You're wasting your time.
So what the thing is, yes. So magical defenses, you have magical people on your side.
Well, here's a statement for Green Apple says, as long as the logic is consistent, that's more important than anything. Well, that's kind of more, that leans toward verisimilitude. I mean, the logic is, are you saying, here's a question. I don't think you throw caution to the wind. Every time something weird happens, oh, it's magic. Oh, it's magic.
No, you can but the thing,
who cares?
Right. You don't do that necessarily. However, you don't spend 3 weeks writing a dissertation on how dragon treasures affect the world economy. What you do is you make a call for your game world on treasure or economics if you want to, or because of the reason that can come up is you have book prices for things that you can like swords and armor and bottles of water, right? If you start flooding the market with gold from the dragon hoard, a lot of people say, well, that stuff will go up. And that's fine. Do that. Or don't. Just leave it. Either way. And you just make a call. Well, why wouldn't it go up? Well, because the king instituted price controls. I don't know.
Yeah. Shadzar he had a good question. Said, didn't that article also mention that in the event the world was low number of adventurers, it's better than nothing. But a society with lots of adventurers then would be useless. I think it did make that comment. And I think it's like this. I don't want to toss castles out, and I wouldn't, because they're cool.
Right.
So we just kind of nod and wink and say, yeah, there's castles. And, if you want to get fancy, you could, like I said, if you have a wizard's keep, you could do all kinds of super magical stuff that would make laying siege very difficult.
Yeah, put walls of iron inside the castle walls.
Have his keep and everything in it go ethereal when it gets attacked.
Sure.
Good luck attacking me now. Terrask or whatever.
I forgot to tell you guys, there's a gate to hell right in front. And when your army walks into it, it all goes to hell. So
yeah.
See you later.
And it's one.
Did I tell you I'm a 18th level wizard? I could do that.
Yeah, it's a one-way portal. Sorry about your luck.
Yeah. Bye.
Hope you'll find an excuse. But
no more army.
Yeah, no army. Well, I think that's definitely true. Magic definitely changes how things would work. And I made a lot of comments in our notes about magic.
But it wouldn't always be that way. So you would have some castles that would get destroyed.
Yeah.
Others, over time, there would be some defenses. So you don't have to spend a whole lot of sweat over that. You just say, how do we get from here to here? There are some defenses. You can make a quick table, and you don't even need to necessarily assign them to every castle. It only comes up when it comes up.
But it also brings, it's actually a perfect adventuring world, right? Where there's not that many castles, there's many ruined castles.
Yes.
Weren't able to do what you wanted to do.
Sure.
But the few that are standing, they probably have some pretty good. The king in the one empire and all the land, the one massive city, and there's a keep there. That's probably well protected.
And if you have dwarves that are in teleporting, right? So and then you have teleport traps. So, if you have dwarves in your campaign, dwarves are supposed to be really great with rock.
Mm-hmm.
So why wouldn't they have developed an interesting way to fit stone walls together so that they're like almost as strong as steel anyway, and then you reinforce it with, say, walls of iron internally or whatever.
Oh, you could do all sorts of things, yeah.
And right.
Which
and there's glass steel, right, which turns glass into steel. You can have an alternate which turns rock to steel.
What I'm basically hearing is a lot of cool ideas to get rid of that pesky gold those adventurers have.
Sure. So that's what you do. So dragon treasure. If you somehow either kill or distract the dragon, get away with the treasure somehow, there's all kinds of nifty ways. Oh, here's a castle that's been ruined. I'm going to, as the king, give you this land if you fix up that castle, and it's going to cost half your gold probably, because you got to hire people and have a troop of soldiers there to defend it while it's being rebuilt, and then you're going to use them in the defense of your domain afterwards. So there's all kinds of ways you can get rid of the gold. And magic items is another thing. It doesn't say in the book how long they last.
No, it doesn't.
So there might be only very few truly ancient magic items that are extremely powerful or extremely rare or made a certain way or by a certain person. Maybe the rest of them have an expiration date that nobody knows about.
Yeah. And
they go inert.
Yeah, instead of growing with you, maybe they slowly get weaker.
Who
knows? Sword, a few years in, it's +3, and then it's +2. Yeah. What about, do you think religion, that's something that's always perplexed me. I remember early on playing D&D, we just picked a god. Oh, what's that powder puff nerd? I put a cursed sword that stuck to one's hand. Oh, Joe knows what happens. Yes, he does when the wizard picks it up.
Sure. And powder puff nerd, whenever we bring up magic items, loves to put this up because she loves that. She stuck me with a stuck sword. Sticky sword.
Sticky sword time. You love it. For like religion in particular, I know when we first started playing, I'm a cleric of Odin, I'm a cleric of Zeus, I'm a cleric of Thor, I'm a cleric of Euler, I'm a cleric of Hera. And it was like, who cares? You wear heavy armor and you use a mace. And for the longest time, you have spells. And so that doesn't smack of verisimilitude, unless your world is all the gods got together and said that's how clerics roll. Right? I think it makes sense. If you have multiple religions, they should seem different in your world. If they don't, I think it doesn't have to be jarring, but in the back of my mind, if I'm playing a game and every religion is just shield and mace cleric, shield and mace cleric, shield and mace cleric, I have to admit, I'm like, I don't think they're putting much time in their game.
Yeah, and with what Max has just said, clerics follow a pantheon, priests follow a specific god.
Oh,
yeah. So I'm more along the lines of that too. Well, if you're calling yourself a cleric, you're playing a cleric, and you're a follower of Odin. Odin is not a lone religion. Odin is part of the Norse pantheon of gods, and that's a religion, not singular. So, in the same vein, you could, if you want to create for your world a pantheon for it, and your clerics participate in that religion. They don't necessarily have to be all that different.
I have to
They
admit,
just venerate one of them.
I liked the cleric specialty priest stuff in the second edition of D&D. I really liked the idea of it. I don't think the execution was always good.
Well, they were so uneven.
Yeah, they were very uneven. I mean, some were just clearly better.
Mm-hmm. And clearly the best one was not even a good god.
Almost always.
What's the one with the lightning?
Oh, Talos.
Yeah, Talos. I think as far as I
dude.
could tell when I looked through it, Talos clerics or specialty priests were the toughest, hands down. If I'm remembering correctly.
Well, I know our players love Talos. They got to where they'd say you should be. If someone was a cleric, they'd be like, "Are you a Talos specialty priest?" Because they got some pretty beefy damaging spells. Their chain lightning got bonuses on damage and stuff. So I know well, it took forever to cast, but still, they loved it. It was the thing. So,
And of course, it wasn't evil.
no, neutral. Chaotic neutral, baby.
Chaotic neutral, which was apparently for some reason the favorite alignment
that was our favorite alignment
in our town.
So just to clarify this, so I think I agree with you that you're right. I just don't know if I have an easy time doing it. I have to think about some of that stuff. If I don't ponder different religions, if I don't ponder economics in my world or politics at all, it all just seems to be, I don't know. I feel like I lose something at the table. I think I do.
Right. So I think what I was saying was not to not do it at all, but to go the less is more route instead, and especially with the thinking about it. So it's not like you don't want to think at all about it, but so not throwing the baby out with the bathwater. We're just optimizing your time as a DM. So you just think about it a little bit and make some decisions. I don't think it requires. I don't think it requires a whole lot of mental juice.
Yeah. Block the whole
Deadly cat.
Yes.
Don't have them at the game table. All the characters will die.
Yes.
You just make a decision, especially as long as we've been playing.
Oh, right. Sure.
So the leap from lots of I would say personally in the game world, unless you make this conceit at the beginning. So if the conceit at the beginning is there's lots of adventuring going on, then that would be something you might want to take into consideration on how things work. So, but if adventuring is not commonplace, if it's something that the players happen to do, then there's not a lot of adventurers, especially not a lot of high level adventurers. You might also have that there's not necessarily hordes and hordes of monsters either.
Right.
So that would probably take care of a lot of these issues on their own. So
doesn't seem to want to say, won't take no for
yes. Aztec inspired priests use sharp weapons, Cal. That's good, because I always thought it was stupid that they couldn't.
Well, it was funny because I want to put that up there because I remember when second edition came out and that became an option. I'm like, look, these clerics can use swords. I'm like, remember my reaction was, that is super powerful. It's really not.
No, not really.
It's not really super powerful at all.
No.
It's like, because we always, there were maces +5, mace of disruptions. There were powerful weapons that clerics could use, and fighters could use them too. He could use a mace +5 pretty well.
Right. And if they're designed off the Templars, they used all kind of sharp crap.
Sure.
So it's kind of silly. And I know I've heard some justifications in the past, but they were all full of holes. But anyway.
So I think
I'm saying you, at least initially, what you might do is think more on the topics we're talking about here in bits. But initially, when you start off, little bits. How does this affect the economy? You either decide treasure gathering is going to bump the prices up temporarily, or they don't.
Yeah.
I don't think you need to worry about any middle ground.
Yeah, and I don't think unless our players are thinking too deeply about it, or you got an anal DM as a player like me, when someone presents something, I'll kind of want to know what they're thinking. I'm like, I wonder what that DM's doing. How's he's considering things like this situation? The first time someone dies, a character dies at the table, and they go, "Oh, let's go get him resurrected." So first, if I haven't thought about it, I got to decide. Okay, is there a resurrection? Okay, probably so. You're playing D&D. How do you do it? And as local priests, clerics, are they just going to do they have anybody that can? And if they do, are they just going to cast it because you have money? Maybe.
Maybe. They may
maybe.
not.
And I think what you're saying is, Randy, just make a decision. And it could be in this world that the clerics are like, we don't cast those kind of spells just for anybody. But I'm a 4th level adventurer. I'm trying to save this town. Okay. Do you follow Odin? Do you follow the Norse pantheon? I mean, have you given recently?
Are you devout?
Are you devout? Are you
I haven't seen you at temple
I
lately.
haven't seen you at temple like ever. You just came into town. And so your friend, I don't know them. Sorry about their luck. They're in Valhalla. It's going to be okay.
Yeah.
Go on.
Or they could set a task.
Yeah, they could. I'll do it. I'll save your friends, but you owe us a favor and you will pay us back. And depending on their personality, you always say, put a little wrinkle in the spell. If you don't do it, your friend dies.
Right. This has an expiration date if you don't.
If you don't do it, I won't complete the spell until you finish it, which would be cool. And that would add a nice wrinkle to the game. So Not worry about it till you're done. Don't go through all the religions I'm imagining having and have all their own separate rules for resurrection.
Right, because what happens if you don't even have a player that wants to run a cleric?
Yeah.
You've just wasted a lot of your time. Now,
or what if they found a rod of resurrection?
Once you get things started and you have some uptake from your players, you might select one of these areas to spend some further thought on. But I still think less is more in general with these things. It all depends on what do you think you're going to get out of it at the table.
Here's interesting. Look at Darth Theik's statement. This is interesting. Maybe the treasure hunting is what supports the economy.
Correct. What happened? Okay, so in a game world where there's monsters, how much farming can you really do?
Yeah.
Right?
Or in a game world where you can't have castles because everybody's blowing crap up and there's lots of adventurers and they have ways around it, there's tons of ruins. So there's cities that are based upon, hey, bring money to our town. And maybe every major, building owner, landowner were ex-adventurers.
Maybe.
The tavern owner's an ex-adventurer. The person that built the stables, he's an ex-adventurer. That's how he had all the money. That's true. Do you think then? Oh, Legion of Myth. I like the way DCC handles clerics and healing. Healing power is increased on PCs. Yeah, that's not bad. That could just be that could be a function of, because when I first read that, I was like, what? So you got to be like, you're not my alignment, so it will heal you. No, I can heal you, but my God just won't put the oomph in it because you're neutral and I'm good.
Can you be that dude from The Mummy who had like a necklace from every religion imaginable? He wiggled it in front of Imhotep, and Imhotep wasn't buying it either. But
no,
that would be funny though.
Yeah. So I guess I think this answers my next question. So verisimilitude, worrying about it, can it get in the way or hinder a good gaming experience? Definitely from the DM side it can, because I could spend way too much time.
Go ahead.
Stuff. Could it from the player side? This is too much.
Yes, I think so. And this is how it can. It can. It doesn't really come up at our tables very much.
Yeah.
But this is how it could. Let's say you have a number of people sitting at the table, the players, and there's a player like me who, when I describe what my character is doing at the table, I'll often say, let's say it's Butch, my fighter. I'll say, Butch does this, and Butch does that.
Right.
Most of the time. Sometimes I'll revert to I or me or something like that.
Right. You do. Usually third person, yeah, Butch.
Usually third person. There might be someone who, with verisimilitude, this isn't really verisimilitude. This is more immersion. But it might be off-put by that and say, what are you doing? You're sending me out of the game. I can't. You have to say, or you should say, me or I, because then we can be immersed. If you don't do it, I can't be immersed. And stuff like that. So if you take that part of this spectrum of thought too seriously, then you can upset yourself at the game. I wouldn't blame the person like me. You wouldn't blame that person. You'd blame the person getting offended because, that's their hang up. And I think in a similar manner, verisimilitude, if you're hung up on too much on realism, you could, if the DM makes a call that you think is not realistic, you might let yourself, get carried away in the realism, the need for realism or consistency.
Right. That giant could never do that, Randy. How did he do that? I was behind that rock. He would never be able to hit me. Look at the angle of inclination. There's no way. Start pulling out physics and math.
Right.
Look at Legion of Myth says no third person in my game, and Bruce says you get kicked out of Chandra's table for third person everything. Is that like serious or joking?
Mm-mm.
Oh, you're out if you do third person?
Well, the thing is, this is something that's going to come up. Like it's known, right? So I wouldn't be playing in Chandra's table because I'm not going to refrain from playing the way I do.
Right. And
it's okay. My character is not me, so I'm not going to say I or me. It's stupid.
I don't think it's stupid, but I understand how you could see it.
Yeah.
It feels a little goofy.
It's wonky.
Now, to be fair, I love that kind of immersion. I would be probably very comfortable just role playing the whole time and being in character,
right.
As much as I could. But I also don't have issues. I'm fine if I have a person that's doing voices and is fully in character, and then have a Joe who's somewhere in between, and then someone who's like, my fighter goes over and does this. I can live with all that. It don't hurt my feelings at all.
Right. So, and that's the thing. If we're doing an RP between the DM and me, and we're like playing out a scenario, buying session, I'm buying something, or negotiating something. I'm not going to say, I'm going to say I or me in that situation, most likely. But if it's like, what we're doing in the fight?
Yeah.
I don't care about any of that.
Right. Yeah. And I don't know. I just can't. And, maybe for them, maybe for Shauna, maybe for Max, maybe it takes them out of the game. So.
And I don't get that, because I don't get what are you not playing anymore? Are your dice failing to function? Does your pencil stop working? I mean, I'm out of the game. I don't get that. That sounds like frailty in my mind.
Indigo Dragon says verisimilitude isn't realistic from our own real world. Right. It's just what's plausible within the game. Agreed, 100%. Right. I believe that's even the definition.
It's a seeming of real
appearance to be real.
Yeah, but people will inject their own. That's not real. That's not realistic.
Yeah,
that's maybe more of a simulationist type of mindset.
Yeah, first person, third person is fine. To me, I don't really care. And I don't know what the fighter is. That third person too, I guess, or fourth person. I mean, I had a group of guys. I think I mentioned before. At what does Legion say in character?
Okay, so he's got some typo stuff going on here, but in character, I and me. Out of character, third person. In character is I and me. If you're in character, you say I and me. If you're out of character, it's third person. I agree with Shauna. I just think he's too hardcore about it. Learn to roll. He says leer. Or lean. Maybe he means lean. No, learn. Learn to play Joe, and he sticks his tongue out. So yeah.
Be an actor.
No.
Come on, Joe. Get into it.
I mean, I cut it up now and again, but
you do.
I'm not big on it.
Joe's not fully.
I'm big on the game. I'm not big on the role play.
Yeah, Joe leans for the.
But game. I do it now and again.
Yeah, if I twist his arm.
I salt my gameplay and pepper my gameplay with role play.
Yeah.
I don't salt and pepper my role play with gameplay.
Which would be more like me.
Yeah.
I could give two craps about the dice rolling. Though I like to do a little bit of it. I do like. I've learned to like combat. What about the other way? If you completely ignore verisimilitude, can that inhibit the game experience?
Probably some.
I mean, imagine. Imagine it right now. So okay, we just got a big hoard of treasure from the dragon. Oh my God, the town's going crazy. Prices have gone up. Blah blah blah. Okay, we've traveled to the plains and we just stolen the whole vault of treasure from the Lord of Hell, Dis, and we brought that back. That's cool, and nothing was ever said.
Oh, right. Or how much do you have in your backpack? I don't know. I've got about 10 pages worth of equipment here. Can I carry it all? Yeah. So in some ways, you've got to,
Yeah.
you do have to make sense.
I don't
Yes. Role-playing game. Both words matter. Yes.
agree.
Max. Both words matter. However, it's a game, and the role-playing part of that whole phrase is a description of what kind of game it is. So I think game comes first. But that's me. You can do what you want.
I feel like you should be about 50-50. So, me. So.
Hold on. Max says, I should start to use text to speech. I don't know. I don't know if it could keep up with you.
I know, dude. So we talked about kind of where the sweet spot is. Do you think it's just the DMs? Is it just the DMs problem to make sure verisimilitude holds, or do the players have to do something?
Well, I think there's some buy-in.
Yeah.
But also, all of this is very dependent on the table. I mean, you've got folks that are more wargamey in aspect, so they'll get way more into just, okay, I've made my character according to the rules, and the DM is like, I've got this dungeon that I've laid out according to the rules. Let's mash together at game, and some things are going to be wonky, some things are not, and we're not going to worry about it.
Oh yeah, and some will relish in the wonkiness.
Sure, because
I made my jump check so I can literally jump from the ground to the top of the tower by this calculation in Pathfinder. Yes. Sweet, yes. I do it, right? Do it. The rules say that.
Yeah. I mean, and the wonkiness is, and even before Pathfinder, before third edition, D&D first and second edition had some weird things that you could do. Mm-hmm. Some of that stuff is the draw of the game. It's wonkiness. It's character, as opposed to some other games where the rules don't present as many conundrums, we'll say.
I would imagine, and maybe folks here could counter this, who've played. I wonder how many folks have played a DCC campaign. And I think Bruce mentioned this when he was on the podcast with us a couple weeks ago. In DCC, it seems the fun is in the craziness.
Yeah.
That you're likely to die around every corner. And when you're playing the funnel, it's about, look at all, I had 9 characters die, and my one dude that survived was the gong farmer.
Yeah.
Mr. Tinker.
Well, something like paranoia. I don't think you worry too much about verisimilitude there, really, because it's all about being paranoid about everybody and trying to be the only one surviving.
Yep.
At some point, which probably you won't anyway. I think the computer is trying to kill everybody. So, it all depends on the system. It depends on the group at the table, as Indigo Dragon says. It really has to come from the players to play the game that way. So the DM can be a particular way, but the players have to buy in. And the best way, I think, is to curate your table. Eventually, you're going to have a good group of players where the players and the DM are simpatico, or at least with that particular DM. Because I know many people, myself included, who can play with a variety of different DMs. I have my preferences.
Mm-hmm. Everybody
does. You don't have to necessarily lock yourself down to one mode of play, which some people do. I have to play this way every time, or it's not right. Mm-hmm. And but you do have to have buy-in from your players.
Patrick says, Demo says, verisimilitude has its place. Otherwise, you have the jackasses who insist they lift and toss a mountain just because they rolled a nat 20 in their check. Or worse than third edition, they build the hulking hurler and you let them literally say, yeah, they can actually do that, which is crazy sauce. So. Tim's got a comment on DCC. I feel like DCC does Gonzo and Silly or Grim and Dark really well. Both can involve you dying at every turn. Good point. That's a good
Right.
point. So it could be either or. Yeah.
And every game has its charm. Not all of them. Oh, even I would say Aliens, right?
Yeah.
Let's say the Aliens game you ran at Cabin Con.
Yeah.
I probably metagamed a bit.
Oh, probably, yeah. Sure.
Probably because watched the movies,
Yep.
knew what was really going on.
Yep.
Not all the precise details, but essentially. So as soon as I had even a whiff that there was some dangerous element,
You were ready to get the hell out of Dodge.
yeah, not stick around, try to rescue everybody, not try to kill them all, and in the D&D fashion.
Even though you had a couple of hard ass, you were ex-military.
Sure, but we were really just. We were on a science vessel.
Yeah,
essentially.
Yeah, and you were not.
We weren't soldiers.
You were ex-military, but you had a couple of guns, and that was it. What
Yeah. Pea shooters.
Cannon that dude was using in the movie Aliens.
You no
equipment. Didn't have tactical nukes and stuff like that. So.
Right.
Yeah.
So pretty much. But I was leaning into the theme, right?
Yes.
The theme is horror, being scared, and as soon as there was, a breath of that enemy,
time to go.
Right, because you could easily justify it based on the fact that you're in a could be unstable platform of essentially a nuclear reactor,
right,
powering a atmospheric processor,
right,
which if you do the wrong thing,
boom, no more people.
Boom. So there's that. You're on a planet far away from Earth. That's inhospitable outside of your domain. I mean, it's no good outside of the buildings. You have to make short runs on battery. I think those trucks, those ATVs they ran around, I think they were battery powered.
I think so too.
They weren't gas. I don't think they were gas.
No.
So they had a limited amount of time to go out and back.
Right.
Very limited.
Now, Patrick made a comment, and I'm just wondering, and I see what he's saying, but I wonder if this connects to Verisimilitude. He said also you have those players who aren't invested and truly play damning the consequences. Yeah, so we have some players that just do, and that's when you're outside of Verisimilitude. You're like, okay, I get that I'm this. This is the generic one that bothers me, and I guess it's maybe just me. Your adventuring group in D&D and in most places, you're living in you're going out deep in the danger land. You got some butthole in the group that will just either turn on you on a lark, attack the town's guard because you guys came in from Temple of Elemental Evil. You need to break. Everybody has 4 hit points, and he mouths off to the guard and slaps the guard. Don't talk to me, dumb NPC. And it's just like, would you really do that? I mean, what kind of nutbag? Even if you are a little crazy, that's kind of you're coming in dragging your butt, and you're going to slap a guard. I mean, I'm 6th level. I get it, but you have 2 hit points. You do realize if I roll a natural 20, you're dead. He will kill you where you stand, and he's only 1st level. But that's okay. That's okay.
And
yeah,
you being the DM, you could just say, you take a swing at him, half the town guard jumps on you, and you're dead. I mean,
right. And honestly,
no rolling.
But I mean, that's where if you let if you got people on different pages of Verisimilitude, that could be a problem. But like, I'm just here to have fun and do goofy stuff, and I want to be able to be a wild card all the time. Right. Patrick's going into some detail on some Shadowrun game. I won't go through all that, but check the chat out.
Yeah.
But yeah, he makes a good point. It can drive a DM crazy, especially one who wants to have the game be a little more, not just crazy sauce.
Right. Yeah. I like to play characters who want to get in the thick of it. So
sure.
I don't do a whole lot. I mean, every action does not have to involve a half hour of deliberation.
Correct.
And at some point, you just got to make a decision and go with it. So if we
yeah.
have a door that needs
Open
to
it.
be opened, someone needs to go open it. Even if
It's a
I'm playing the wizard, if
Yeah.
nobody's, there's a door, and then 5 minutes later, no one's done anything, my character's going to go up there and open it.
We came for that golden idol on the statue on the dais. Get it.
Get it. At some point, you just got to
Yeah.
get it.
We checked for traps. It was clear. Legion of
Make it
Missiles.
happen. But
I agree with Randy. I want to say that. I'm just going to leave it there, Max. He agrees with me. Finally. No, it says, though some of the best adventures come from those actions. It can. And the eventual execution of the scene of the character. I agree with that.
we used to be, when we were teenagers, we were big on stabbing each other in the back and taking all your stuff, and you having to start out again at first level with nothing. We like the snicker. I got all your stuff. Blah, 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 blah. But
D&D at the fine.
yeah, but it didn't take that long to grow out of that. And we're like, that's really jerk playing. So let's be reasonable.
Yeah, it's no.
But you do have. I think there is something to be said for not for stabbing in the back, but for doing things sometimes unexpectedly, but not necessary to the detriment of the characters.
Yeah.
You don't necessarily always have to do the expected thing.
Right.
So to make things a little interesting, but
sure,
we're all in the tavern, eating and drinking and relaxing from our latest foray into the demon web pits. What you don't do necessarily is assassinate everybody in the bar so you can have a free meal.
No. I get you guys are 12th level characters. You're total BAs. I understand. You just going to murder everybody? Okay. I mean,
right.
And it's like, and especially if you've been playing the whole campaign, it's sort of like Heroes, and then you turn on a dime, and of course, it says character neutral on my character sheet.
It's what my character would do.
Oh my God. Shut up. No, it's not. Here's what your DM would do when you do that. You see,
right. Odin shows up.
A group of 17th level lawful good characters say, we're not putting up with your crap.
Yeah. This is our favorite bar, and that's our favorite bartender.
That's right. And now you're our favorite target.
Yes, you're yeah.
Soft them up. Meteor Swarm Online.
What was your name? Where did it's now target dummy.
Yeah. Yeah. But I mean, that's true. I guess it could be fun, but too much of it can just ruin the campaign. I mean, that kind of actions can ruin the campaign.
Yeah.
Especially if the party sides with the guy that decides to cause trouble. And you know what? Maybe if a player does that's not normally doing that could be a sign they're ready either for a different kind of game or just ready to change the path, the trajectory of the campaign. Maybe they do want to play Bonnie and Clyde on the run. And I guess if you're up for it, that's great, but I'm not usually up for that. CBK Ply. Fellow gamer of mine has a quote he always uses. If you die, take the shit. Yeah. Sweet. That sounds like our group. I like you, buddy, but if you die, I want your cloak and your +4 sword. Whoa. Oh. I can't say that. I never played, Patrick says, I never played with a single chaotic neutral player who wasn't a chaotic jackass.
They often go hand in hand.
They do. I can't say that. I have played with some that weren't, but yes, they tend to be. So I know I think we've kind of already probably set our piece on this.
We can do some details. What?
Well, what about this? I mean,
you want to talk about the politics or community?
Yeah, I mean,
let's talk about the details. That's good stuff.
Yeah, so like,
we talked about religion.
We've kind of hit religion. We've hit economics a little. What about ecology? Flora, fauna, dragons, monsters, keeping an ecological balance. Can you have a great red worm?
There is no way to properly explain in any detail an ecological balance with dragons or giants, especially the biggest ones. And even physics doesn't support a creature that size behaving human-like.
Well, and even eating, you start talking about the sheer size of the dragon, blah blah blah. The sheer size of the dragon, wouldn't it cause a skeletal structure to almost fall in on itself?
Perhaps. I mean, there's very large creatures in our world,
Sure,
right?
sure.
We have elephants, and there were the woolly mammoth mastodons from prehistoric ages. Were they bigger or comparable? I can't remember.
I think they were bigger, but I don't
Okay.
know. I'm not an expert.
And some there are archaeological evidence of dinosaurs of really huge size, but we don't know everything about them. Something the size of a giant that's practically like a human, just a big human. I mean, I know how much I eat.
Yep.
If I was 40 feet tall, Joe would eat a village every day.
Joe,
People easily.
I remember when you were about 28, 29, even then, and definitely when you were young, you came in from the army one time, and I didn't think I ever saw you stop eating.
Right.
I was like, holy crap, that dude eats nonstop.
Right.
And I mean, you would see me back then. Joe's in the military. Even when he was running cross country, he was super fit, and people would be like, "Oh," and Randy, I was always heavy. They figure Randy could eat him, and I've never been able to eat Joe under the table. He's always been able to eat more than me. He probably still could. If we sat down, we're both hungry, he probably could eat more than me. But we're both older. We've all slowed down a bit. But back in the day, I could not hold my own against him. So, I mean, the dude was like a horse.
And so you got a giant. How big is let's say a fire giant?
About 12 feet tall, I think, in most.
Only 12. Okay.
Only 12.
A mere 12.
Yeah.
So
2 foot taller than a basketball goal.
Right. So probably at least 8 times, maybe more, 20 times the mass of a human. Do you think the scale would be? Maybe 100 times?
Well, if you think a man's 6 foot, he doubles his height, but that's gonna be more than.
Yeah, it does a different thing.
6 times the mass, 8 times. Dude's gonna be crazy big. He's gonna look look like a wall, is what he's gonna look like.
And having a whole tribe of these guys.
I know.
Right? So I would say you're gonna have to throw a little bit of your logic out, because I would say a good half dozen giants in a tribe or more, because what about women? What about baby giants? All that.
Max says giants live on sunshine and love. Don't question it.
Right.
Truth.
They would be a terror to any concentrated human dwellings. I mean, let's say they don't like humans to eat because, for whatever reason, they don't like it. They just take all your cattle. And by all, I mean all.
Yeah.
Because they're not stopping them.
No.
So you find some adventures to go get them. But ecologically speaking, in dragons, I mean, at least with dragons, there's some bit of the lore where they don't eat every day, and they don't eat multiple times a day. They're more like giant cats who eat a lot in one sitting and then go a long time without eating anything. So maybe giants do that too. Who knows? But you're not going to be thinking too heavily on ecology. There are some interesting bits you can get out of the Ecology of articles from Dragon Magazine.
Yes,
you can put in your game.
I loved reading those back in the day.
Right. But as far as getting too deep into it, I mean, having a dragon probably in any, just for the fact if it was a big red dragon, it can burn forests down left and right. It would just ruin any real ecological balance anywhere.
Well, and they tend to kill they're not afraid to kill indiscriminately.
No, I want that.
I think when they describe it, they kill for fun.
Right.
But here's a question. So if we start saying, so then that brings up the attitude. No, don't question it too much. Is what we're saying. Don't get into the science-y of magical creatures.
No.
But if you don't, and if you don't, then it begs a question. So now, if we don't really care about that, then why do we care about magic items? Why do we care about castles? So I guess you could use that logic to say, verisimilitude's not that important.
Not too important. You could even say, why do castles exist? Well, they're still hard to break down, right? They make things a little difficult.
Yeah.
So you would have a dragon who assaults a castle would have to have a really good reason to go in there and try to do that.
Yeah, Max had mentioned, would 10 giants eat as much as a 2,000 person town? And Cal said, let's calculate the caloric intake needed per day for a giant. I'm telling you, it would be ridiculous. If they had any kind of moderate scale to even a human, it would be, thousands upon thousands of calories a day.
If I was that fire giant and I saw a nice, tasty village, I'd sit down and say, all right.
You 20, I'm eating you now for a snack.
Yeah. Your lunch, your dinner. If anyone's left, their breakfast the next day. If I even had a taste for human. Otherwise, it would be the cattle.
Right.
And they wouldn't even bother with carrots or potatoes. Not even worth it. There's a giant cow, fat cow over there. I'm going to get that thing. And it just use it for adventure hooks.
Yes.
Don't go round and round in your head about how the ecology would work. Just make a decision. There's a bunch of giants over here. All this civilized land's cattle are now in jeopardy. They may not have a taste for humans, but if they get in between, if a human gets between them and their goal, they're going to pick them up and stick them in their mouth probably, or at least beat them up and eat them later. They're not big enough to just shove a human in their mouth, I guess. Being only a mere 12 feet tall.
Yeah, I kind of like what Darth Theek says here. I've always thought dragons live off magic and eat because they enjoy it.
Because they're so big. I mean, even in the ocean with the whales, they have to eat so much, and most of their mass is kept up by the water. So a land creature that size wouldn't have that benefit, so it would have a much higher caloric intake.
And they still eat almost nonstop. Even sharks are searching for food a lot.
Yeah, because they're constantly moving, so they're constantly
burning calories.
Yeah, burning calories, and they have to. A land creature can sit and rest.
Yeah.
I don't know how much sleeping goes on in the ocean.
I don't know. I don't know the biology of all that.
Right.
What about community? And I kind of categorize this, and I mentioned with resurrection, life and death, diseases, poisons, and this always brings up the cleric and how much he can heal, accidents, industry, technology. I guess it all depends on the field that you want. This is classic.
Do not interfere in the matters of dragons, says Baron G. Rock, for you are small and are tasty with ketchup.
Yes. Good. But that's a question people bring up. We got a temple of clerics and they're all lawful good. Why does anybody got even a nosebleed in this town?
Right. So that is a good question. So again, you can not worry about it and just say business as usual. Some people get healed, some people don't. Diseases happen now and again, and some people die from them. Sometimes the priests will help out.
Well,
then nothing much needs to be done. Or it all depends on how much of a impact you want that temple to have as a DM. Not trying to think of it logically or anything about that or anything like that. How much do you want? Do you want them to have a big impact or not? And what does that big impact connote for other factors? So if this particular temple of lawful good clerics who have lots of healing magic, because there's a variety of levels, and they can take their time and memorize spells daily. Few people go too long suffering.
Mm-hmm.
They may not always have every hit point restored, but being 0 level people it only requires a first level spell to heal anybody of anything of significance. So, in the vernacular of the game of D&D,
Right.
because even though they say hit points are an amalgam of different things, when you get hit by a sword and it does 3 hit points of damage, you use a Cure Light Wound spell and roll dice, and it cures 3 hit points of what is called damage. So, I would say of half a dozen priests in a monastery could keep a moderately sized village pretty healthy if they wanted to.
They wanted to. Well, Patrick Demo makes a good comment, and this is where I was leaning, because in Mudsword we kind of did something like this. Depends on the mileage of your game. Perhaps spellcasting clerics are only found in sanctuary cities. Frontier town clerics are merely religious clerks. I've actually liked the idea and played with it. I know Joe has heard it when we're playing. In our Mudsword campaign, lawgivers are the adventuring clerics. They're kind of a paladin cleric amalgam. They can heal, but they're the ones that are granted powers. The priests of Lohas, as it were, they're faithful people, but Lohas, I mean, you could argue, why would I give a cleric that cleans the benches, takes the ties, why would I give him access to resurrection?
Because they're faithful and do all the things you say.
Well, do they? I mean,
no, what I'm saying is if they're at the temple, keeping it clean.
They're just cleaning the temple. That may not be, I mean, Lohas, particular God of justice. To me, the lawgivers are out doing his work. The others are just ministering a small amount out of kindness. I don't know.
It all depends. It depends.
You could justify it. You could
sure.
Yeah.
Especially if Lohas is a goody God.
Right.
If the priests there at the monastery are faithful and devout and present the temple in the best way that can be done, and it's immaculate and clean, and they take care of the people and talk about Lohas to whoever will lend an ear, why wouldn't she? Now, it might be that 10x per pew cleaned.
10x, yeah, Legion of Myth, 10 XP per pew clean. That's pretty
right.
And I think
I'm 10th level. I'll be 10th level in 50 years cleaning these pews. Awesome.
But to me, I guess I just like the idea. It's not that
it would take care of that issue.
Yeah, so, like I said, they don't get spell powers
yeah.
because they're not the arm of the faith that needs them.
Right.
That's it.
That would make sense.
Now, maybe you could grant a priest periodically a spell power, or maybe they get a power periodically through prayer that's even more powerful than spells. You know, maybe they could do something truly miraculous, a truly faithful acolyte priest, whereas a lawgiver who is a champion cleric out, you know, preaching the message.
The NPC priests don't have to operate the same way that the PC clerics do. So you could do whatever you want to with them. They might be, depending on what the focus of that particular monastery or priesthood or whatever, or what have you in that town is, they could be where people go to learn about just everyday treatment for ailments with herbs and whatever. Before there were pill pushers like we have these days, our world, you did use herbal remedies, and some of them are real, some of them are snake oil, but there are many herbs that do provide, if prepared properly, do provide relief of one sort or another. You could kick that up a notch in a fantasy world and have fantasy herbs that, under the right circumstances, you can concoct into what's something akin to a healing potion, without having clerical knowledge, maybe, or maybe you need to be a priest of Lohas or who was the Morning Lord?
Lathander.
That would be a great one, because Lathander was also a priest was a god of healing, correct?
Yeah.
Right. And that would be a great monastery devoted to the Morning Lord and spring and growth and all that. They could have all kinds of herbal remedies just ready to go without needing to have cleric spells.
Patrick makes a comment. One of our nearby cities, Bay City, has an herbalist.
Yeah.
On every corner.
The holy herb.
The holy herb, yeah. Yes, the ganja
Yes.
is legal in Michigan.
Yes. Depends on the setting. Yes, Indigo Dragon. Not
Yeah,
all
I
settings would
agree.
support that kind of
I
stuff.
think I like the idea of that though, and I think in a lot of my games, when I design my own setting, I just don't want clerics being the heal bot for every town, because it's I mean, it's not fun if the town gets everything taken care of by their local priest. Why would they need the adventurers a lot of times? And there'd be no chance for the adventurers to do something and then they go, ooh, you can heal with a touch? Wow. It can make it cool.
Right.
But again, it's preference.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or you could go with how the things are stated in the various DMGs about suggested number of adventurers per size of community. I know there's suggestions on those, and there's various ways to kind of tinker with how a church, how many spellcasting clerics could be in a church, according to the rules. They're probably not easy to find, but they're probably there for the one who wants to find them, and you just go with that.
Yeah. How about politics? I mean, can you recall me ever running a fantasy game where there was a true representative republic or a democracy of sorts? It's almost always monarch like, right?
Right.
Do you think different political structures would add some value to a game?
Well, from a point of view of adventure possibilities, so you could have a long-standing monarchical kingdom having trouble with a group of city-states who have declared their independence and say pound sand,
right?
And that might have happened a generation or two ago,
Sure.
or maybe very recent, and you can use that struggle either as adventure fodder or RP within like community settings like a town or bar, or even on the road. You're on the road and you see the king's men harassing these folks, and and go with that.
Your party goes by and says honk honk.
Right, honk honk.
Now, of course, if I did that, I would twist it. I would have those city states that Joe would love, tell them to go pound sand, but he actually want to go do evil stuff, and the monarch
Sure.
ultimately kind and loving and caring, and Joe would be like, crap, I actually got to help the man.
So you could have it to where it kind of is similar to what happened in France. So in France, that's their revolution, the French Revolution, begun in a similar way to the American Revolution, but then got taken over by a group called the Jacobins, who then wanted to change everything, including what you called the days of the week, and they wanted to outlaw. They outlawed for a time any Christian religion. A lot of churches got burned.
Did they call it hate speech?
No. I'm sure they had other words for it. Anyway, so you could have a situation like that where you have the freedom fighters being the bad guys, using bad tactics instead of just saying, "Hey, we're going to do our own thing." No, we're going to kill all of the people in charge, whether they've done something bad or not.
Yeah, the king was like,
then,
hey,
if you know somebody that was in charge, you were going to kill you too, and your children, and your dog, and take all your stuff.
You could make them very vile.
Sure.
King could actually be on the right. He's like, look, I went to the table with them. They tried to kill me.
Yeah.
So
because we are about subverting expectations here.
Correct. That's how we roll, baby. Oh, yeah. So,
but you probably want to avoid trying to hit things right on the nose.
Yeah, and we don't. Yeah, because we've experienced that, and I think
have some analogs.
Yeah, but not too.
That's fine.
But politics at the table is not always our favorite. So, oh hey, Shadzar must listen to our boy Taylor. Well, you could do what clerics wear email hates and use healing potions. Then, Randy, then you don't need Hillbot town clerics. Yeah, just have an apothecary that gets their delivery every month from the major temple in the town, and everybody can just buy them a potion for 30 gold. Oh, wait a minute. Peasants can't afford that, so could be tough.
Right.
It's probably more than 30 gold, but yeah.
They'd probably have to share a healing potion amongst 10 of them.
Yeah. I love numbers. So if I were to rank on a one scale of 1 to 10, 1 being roll the dice, have fun, whatever happens, whatever the game says you can do, you can do. You can roll a 20, then you kill the king in one shot. To 10, an immersive, narratively consistent, verisimilitudinous experience is all that matters.
I'm probably around a 4 or 3.
You're a little, yeah.
I'm edging toward roll dice and have fun.
Yeah.
The thing is, though, immersively narrative, consistent experience games can be fun to people too.
They can be.
Right. So instead of saying roll dice, have fun, you could say it's just a game. Let's just play a game. It's just a game. Or some other words to describe that. But a lot of people have fun being all immersed, and don't you ever say him, you have to say I, because I will not be able to be immersed any longer.
Yeah, but Sean and his people love the crap out of that.
Yeah, they love it. They wouldn't want to be at their table.
Yeah, Patrick says, I'd like to shy away from real world politics in a game. I got to deal with that crap in real life. I game to escape. Yeah, that's cool. I mean, and I don't mind that. I just, I guess where Joe might be a 3 or a 4, I would probably be a 5 or a 6. But that's only because, and a 5 or a 6 from my side of the screen.
Right.
Whether my players appreciate it or not, I like having a little more reasons worked out, if not in advance, at least when I'm at the table at the time, I have some idea because I know, okay, we're going to be talking about, they're going to be fighting a dragon, getting treasure. I want them to know why this is going to happen. Yeah. Roll dice and have fun is not a bad philosophy.
It is at the end of the day.
But
not theater actors, even though Gary Gygax did reference theatrics in one of the early books. I can't remember the exact phrasing, but yeah.
Yeah. Oh, Max has an interesting statement. Oh, you found it. Immersion and game together are fun. Immersion without the game is LARPing. The game without the immersion is better on a computer.
I disagree.
Yeah, I think I disagree.
With the last bit, because when you're gaming on the computer, you're by yourself. When you're gaming at a table, you're with your friends. Well, with people. And that's what makes the experience even more fun than a computer game. Computer games can get really boring.
One of our buddies told me years and years ago when I first moved here to Michigan, and one of our early friends, Greg D., he said, he'd rather game with his friends. And I didn't think of that. I was thinking at the time, because, you weren't around here. Neither was Philip, some buddies from old. I was getting to meet some of the guys that are here. And I thought, I just would rather just game. Why do we have to be friends? Not that I didn't want to make friends. I like making friends. But, I'm kind of with him now. I think it's okay to be wrong, Joe. It's why Max is here. Thanks, Max. We appreciate it. Now go play Planescape. Anyway. But I want to play with friends. I don't necessarily want to just play with acquaintances on the computer.
Well, right. Or just randos at a game store.
People at a game store, or even random people at my house.
It's fine.
Yep.
If you don't have any opportunity to just gather up your friends, if you're building your game group and becoming friends over time, those things are all fine. And we are in a good position. We have some longstanding friends here in Michigan that we've played with for years, and we've kind of curated our group over time, and it's a great position to be in. So many people, they don't have a local group of friends who want to play D&D.
Yep. And
they need to get on the computer to find some friendly faces to game with.
Yeah, and
then you can still become friends in that manner.
I was going to say, I also couldn't imagine if I just took 4 random guys and we managed to click playing games, even on the internet, that we wouldn't become at least friends. I mean, moderate amount of friends.
I mean, look at the 13 people we were able to draw here just by our presence. Well, probably just my face here on YouTube,
Probably you, Joe, drawing them in with your greatness.
and drawing in the 13 or so and keeping all the rest away because they pop in here and say ugh, and cut out. Anyway, it's not. Let's see, where am I going with this? I don't know. Play with your friends.
Yeah.
Find people to play with. Become friends. But
Yeah.
playing with friends has advantages.
Yeah.
To just random people.
Well, Patrick just hit it on the head. 100% prefer to play with friends. No need to discuss safety tools. No real worries about offending others. And you have no worries of what kinds of tales to tell.
Right. You can cut all that nonsense. I would just say no safety tools. If someone brings it up, you show them the door.
Oh, we punch our friends in the nuts. I dare you to bring it up to my table.
Right.
Mr. Larry, one of the things I like about gaming is hanging out with friends. Yeah.
It's a thing to do with your friends.
Yeah.
And we have a once a year 4-day stretch of doing that. And it's awesome.
It is awesome. And we have a few folks that I only really get to see at Cabin Con, which is a good segue into the last segment tonight.
Wow, we burned through that. It's only an hour and a half. Are we going to make the 2-hour mark?
Oh my god.
I think we are.
Cliff's
We could just look at the screen
and just stare
for a while.
We're not turning this off until we break 2 hours.
Right.
Oh, small chance. Just a comment. Small chance next week you guys will have Joe's beautiful mug all by himself, or unless he invites somebody here. I may not make it. I think it's a small chance. I think I'll probably still be here. So show off the shirts. What's Patrick? Oh, yeah, we do. We need to be wearing our Cabin Con shirts. We don't wear those.
I am.
No, I'm not doing it. I'm wearing a different shirt, but
Patrick's Creations.
check that stuff out, dude. That is some.
It's a mock-up of a comic book cover.
Yes.
With all of us as parodies of comic book characters.
Yeah. Patrick is our artist in-house, and so his shirts are fabulous.
He might have been saying that we need to do that when the new shirts come out for this coming Cabin Con.
I think
we should show them on the stream, which we will do.
Well, you know what? I think I have all of them. I think I might start wearing them in order. Yeah, they are. They are Baron G-Rock. They are swanky. They're very cool. Patrick's done a whole bunch of them. We had a couple others done earlier from different folks, but yeah, he's done the lion's share, and he's in the midst of designing this year's fabulous one. So Cabin Con payment deadline is passed as of today, and I've got half the folks have paid. I consider that a success.
A truer group of friends you will never find.
Right. Oh, they're going to pay. Oh, they're going to pay. Pay. I know where they all live. So, but I mean, yeah, they're just never going to be on time. But I can't wait, dude. Cabin Con is near. I'm waffling like a waffler. I'm not sure I'm going to run a game. I probably will have a 13th age game handy. My wife keeps laughing at me saying, you're going to go run a game. You can't do it. But I'm going to do my best to be on the other side of the screen pretty much 90% of the time this Cabin Con. See what it's like just to be a yo. What you got going, Joe? Have you decided yet?
I have decided, but I have done nothing.
You have an idea
in that regard.
Okay. Yeah, well, it's been a couple months, so
we might have some new folks. I'm not sure if where is he at? Shadow and Sun is still on here or not.
Yes, he hasn't commented, so maybe we bored him.
Or he's just not commenting.
Yeah.
So for anybody new,
yes,
Cabin Con. Oh yeah, our viewer count has gone down a lot.
Yes.
It went down 5.
That's a lot for us.
But for us, yeah. So for anybody who's still on here and it's new, I know one person had to take off for some reason. Anyway, we have a once a year get together we call Cabin Con.
Yep.
And where we, with our gaggle of friends, have a retreat, a getaway, male bonding. I know that will make someone here happy. But we like getting together to game. And we do that once a year, and all we do is game. We eat a lot of food, probably too much for any one person, but it is a fun time.
Yep. If Max is gone, Patrick says he's committing to Earth Dawn this year at Cabin Con, right? So sweet. Yeah. I think we'll be playing that campaign soon too, right, Patrick? So we're going to be getting some Earth Dawn action soon. So
Sounds good.
I can't wait. But yeah, so my game will probably be 13 days, and that'll be it.
I'm going to do something old school if I do
cool.
anything. Yeah.
That's cool. Yeah. Do you think sounds like we're going to have a big crowd this year? A big one. Like we're going to break. We're going to come close to the record. We had 24 one year, I believe. Let's go back and check.
Something like that.
We might get 25 or 26, so it's going to be large number of dudes.
So we'll have to work at doing, making sure that even that biggest one had the most complaints.
It did.
Yes, because it got, I wouldn't say clicky, but a little.
It did a little. We had at least what I would call 2 clicks for sure, maybe a third one, and then a large group of people that were just kind of. Oh, Martinson says 25. So, yeah. So maybe it'll be interesting to see if we get it. I know I've got some contacts from people that said they're bringing more friends that we had talked about last year bringing. So I think we're going to get close to 25. It's going to be close. So I'm pumped. I'm ready to go. Wish we were there already, but
it'll be fun. It'll be fun. It always is. Even that year when we had too many, I think maybe we got a little bit uptight about the fact. I still size matters.
I agree
to a degree in this. Yeah. In this, if we get too many people, it's less about a few pals gaming for the weekend than it has been in the past.
Yeah,
it can get more. It can seem more like the conventions that folks have. Actually, this is only con. Is a con.
In name only.
Stylistically, in name only. It's more of a fun jab at Gen Con. Not that they care, but
I think this year what's going to help, if I don't run much, I will be more conscious of getting to the big house between quote unquote session time slots and making sure games get at least played or started without folks standing around a lot. And I'm hoping that helps with the number of people, that everybody gets themselves, without the wokeness. Truth, Tim Scott. Yeah.
Yeah, all the wokeness and all the weirdness, as much as I'm a guy, I still find it weird that the what I've seen. I've never been to Gen Con, but what I've seen in pictures, the volume of cosplaying people that are there. I'm not a dress up guy.
I don't care, and I get it. But for me, the last few Gen Cons, it just watching the cosplay was like, dude, they're getting old. Because the cosplayers, not only are they looking younger, but they're dressing in characters that I don't recognize.
Right.
I don't even know what they're talking about. So I'm like, oh, that's a cool outfit. I'm like, yeah, but I don't who is that character supposed to be? I mean, they're not doing Luke Skywalker and Spider-Man and that stuff. They're doing crazy stuff, probably from anime.
Lots of anime.
Probably from Berserk.
Right, probably. Yeah, and a lot of it is very risque for my tastes now in my old doddering age.
Patrick,
I'd rather just go to the game and not have to worry about a bunch of boobs all over the place.
Yeah, as much as I don't hold on for a second. I need to stop here for a second.
All right. So yeah, Patrick says, I hate how much I have to keep on my toes exhibiting at Gen Con. So yeah, I guess you gotta watch your P's and Q's and your pronouns, or people will get all miffed and get you kicked out. It's really dumb. We've toyed with the idea of establishing a less woke con local to this area, but you need some capital to do that, and we don't really have, Randy nor I. Even if we all threw in some money, I don't think we could come up with enough money to really make a good go at a con.
Oh, an actual con.
An actual con. I was just saying we've talked about that a little bit here and there, but we like our con. And if we our get together, if we actually started an actual convention, would we still be able to do the other?
I think yes. Actually, Joe, I think I'm going to VentureCon, and that's going to be small, and I'm going to talk to Venture about how he got that organized, because I'm impressed that he's been able to do what he can do to get it. He seems to know what he's doing. He's going to use tabletop events, and by the way, I got to get that sent to him tomorrow. Luckily, I'll have time while my students are taking the test to focus on important things like gaming.
Mm-hmm.
But I think we could do an actual con. I think it'd be a lot of work. I think I would have to have a team of people that would be as committed as I am, to making sure that it goes off well. And we'd have to really divvy the chores out. And I think if we did that, it would be interesting. I think we could absolutely do Cabin Con, because after the first couple of years, if we could get it to where it was paying for itself and that was all it did, that'd be fine. Because then we could have Cabin Con for a whole bunch, or we could have the con we're going to run if we're going to do it. I'm not saying we should. I'm just saying if we did, get it off the ground at a local hotel, and then we could have Cabin Con just for ourselves, and maybe Cabin Con would become smaller.
Yeah, it's possible.
Just from
it's possible.
Invite all our cronies to the big event, and maybe cut Cabin Con down to a more select few. Not trying to exclude everybody, but just maybe we can make it feel like it did early on when it was 8 people, 9
Right.
people.
And we might find the 25. I think we didn't have the right mix of 25.
I think that's the truth.
So if we have the right mix of 20 some odd people or more, that's more the issue than the number itself.
I put this up, but I didn't get to say it. Patrick says he hates how much he has to keep on his toes while exhibiting at Gen Con.
Right. Yeah, we talked about it.
Yes. Oh, did you? I missed that. Okay, yeah. So it's a tough thing. It's a tough thing.
Yeah. It can be. It can be.
I sometimes miss Gen Con, but honestly, not that much. I'm excited about VentureCon. I think it'd be great if we only have 35 or 40 people. I think it'll feel like a bunch of just friends hanging out for 3 days. It'll be close.
It could.
It could suck. I mean, I don't like anybody there. I don't think so. I think I'll like Venture, even if, I think we'll get along fine. I think other people too. I'm not too worried. Anybody out there going to VentureCon? Any of the people in the chat, are they considering VentureCon? July, 22nd, 23rd, and 24th? Please go. I think it'd be fun. Plus, I'd love to meet some of you dudes. It'd be a good time. Wisconsin. So check it out. It's a bit of a haul, but I'm gonna make it happen if God willing and everything works out. No emergencies. Me and a few of the guys will be up there doing the VentureCon thing. Hope to have some biggest geekest paraphernalia too. That's what I'm hoping for.
I wonder if we did our own con, could we fashion a name? I wouldn't want to call it Biggest Geekest Con.
No.
That sounds weird.
That'd be dumb.
Could we call it Biggest Conus? No.
We'll think about that. That's something we got to think about. The big con.
The big con.
Hey, Doof Money. Is this a new person? What's up, Doof Money?
Verisimilitudes. That's just how we talk.
No, very similar dudes.
Yeah, very similar dudes. That's how we talk. You're our kind of people, Doof Money, whoever you are.
Sweet. But I don't know, Joe. We didn't think about that. I mean, if we really wanted to, honestly, after what happened to Venger, I would love to with solidarity create. We don't need to have it. Now we can do, he's doing old school con. He wants to have a very OSR-ish. I wouldn't feel terribly comfortable running a 5e game, but it's okay. We could do more like whatever. But I want to be like, don't want to hear about your safety tools. We don't want to hear about your pronouns, and we're not worried about somebody offending you.
Right.
If you get offended, then if you're that weak, then don't come, or tell them to screw off and do your own thing anyway. I don't want no violence, but walk away.
Yeah.
If
you have a beef with a person, you have a beef with that person.
Yeah.
That's not our responsibility.
Yeah. Don't come to me as you got to make sure he misgendered me. So
Yeah. We're going to have to.
I don't know. Big geek Conus. Maybe. I think about that.
By Geek Conus.
No, big. He meant big.
Well, yeah.
Though by Geek Conus.
The way he's got it,
I know.
capitalized by Geek.
Are you saying something, Shadzar?
Yeah.
Oh,
No. He corrected himself.
I know. But I thought it was funny. I think I was when he was taking a little dig at us. All right. Well, I think that's about all I want to talk about. More stuff.
I don't think so. I think we covered it.
Mm-hmm.
I think we covered it all. I think this is the. Oh yeah, and I did want to say this. Doof money. Oh, he must have been lurking. Okay, he's talking about armor defeating hits.
Yeah, that's something to do with I think was it Earth Dawn? Max
It's an Earth Dawn thing.
Yeah, Max was asking about that.
So I was going to ask him. I was going to tell him that we're about done. So, but he's probably been lurking. So, in any event, that would be it. Thanks for Doof Money. It sounds like a familiar moniker. Maybe he's been here before.
Yeah,
but I can't recall because I'm an old person.
Yeah, thanks everybody. If you'd like to support our show, please visit the many places you can find us on the interwebs. Our website is biggestgeekestpodcast.com. You can give us some moolah there by hitting the support tab. Check us out on Twitter. It's mostly Joe there talking. Facebook, we got a lot of the places. Odyssey, YouTube. We have a Discord channel that Randy never checks. Email at biggestgeekestpodcast.com. Share this stream, the podcast, however you check us out. Like us if you can. Rate us where you can. We like the rates. We like the money, but I like the rates better than the money. But this has been a good time, Joseph. I think we're about done here.
Yes, I'd like to thank everybody that joined us in chat. Thank you very much for supporting and giving some good conversation there. That's awesome.
Yes.
I'm not sure if we're ever going to. I mean, I really doubt it. Do anything more than just interact with the chat as we've done.
Yeah.
If we, what we might do is just bring someone in and have a chat on an episode. And plan as far as a planned episode. So that's always fun. Yeah, I know we've gotten some good feedback on the T-shirted historian episode. Saying that it was really cool having another voice there. And it can be because Randy and I have a lot of same ideas as far as gaming, which makes playing together awesome because we're so simpatico as far as that goes.
Right.
So it's hard to get to. I mean, he's more of an immersive player and who doesn't know how to make characters usually very well.
Fair enough.
Also doesn't worry about that.
Right.
I'm someone who does worry about that a little bit. And a more gamey guy, and I don't really care if I always say I or me. I prefer saying him or that character dude that I'm running sometimes. So, in any event, thank you guys for joining us tonight.
Before we go, let me make a comment. You mentioned T-shirt or historian.
Yes.
I re-listen to our podcast. I do that all the time because I love hearing the sound of my voice. And
no. You like hearing the sound of my voice.
That's true. That's very soothing. The dulcet tones. He made a comment about Powder Puff. About when she was brown nosing me. Wait a minute, Max. You will play in Planescape and you will love it. I'll run such a good game. I'll change your mind. You'll pay $500 for the box set. But anyway, he was brown nosing about a Benny, and he made a comment. She would be picking corn out of her nose for days. And I feel bad at T-shirt if you ever listen to this. You made some really good one-liners. And another one was we were talking about players. Joe mentioned players going really slow. And I missed that he talked about a player who kept a sand timer. And whenever another player, the slow player, was there, he would flip it over and just look at him menacingly.
Right.
Dude. And he was another player. He wasn't even the DM.
Right.
Yeah, sorry. I just wanted to shout it out. Sorry I missed some of your jokes. He was on it. But anyway.
That's okay. He'll never listen to our podcast again, and it's all your fault.
It is, and that's
all
okay.
your fault.
That's okay, because he's going to
or watch our YouTube stream. Anyway.
He needs to come from VentureCon. This is Randy.
And this is Joe.
And remember, if you can't be big like us, then be geeks like us. Oh.